Hi, Mary Abbajay here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Before we get started, let me ask you a question. When I say the word networking, what comes to mind? Do you maybe have a shiver come up your spine? Maybe you want to throw up a little bit in your mouth? Maybe you picture awkward handshakes, fake conversations, and boring people? Well, if you do, believe me, you are not alone. So in today's segment, we're going to talk about the benefits of networking. We're going to talk about the why, the what, and the how. I'm going to show you some techniques and some strategies so that you can eliminate those awkward feelings. So whether you are trying to network to make connections, to find a job, to build the business, or just to meet new people, we're going to give you the tips, the tricks, and the techniques so that you can be a successful and authentic networker. So the first thing we have to talk about actually is to get clear on what networking is and what networking isn't. So networking isn't schmoozing. It's not selling. It's not persuading. It's not using. It's not manipulating. It's not being a used car salesman, all right? That's just trying to get something from somebody. What networking is the art of developing and maintaining mutually beneficial relationships before you need them. People, it's all about building relationships. And we do networking every day. Oftentimes I'll ask people in my classes, how often do you network? Do you network daily, weekly, monthly, rarely? 70% of the time people say they network rarely or monthly. Then I have to say, people, you are networking every day of your life, because all networking truly is about connecting with other people, building relationships. And so we're going to talk about the art of building new relationships, of meeting new people. We're going to talk about how to do that today. The other thing I want you to think about when you think about networking, to take that shiver off of your spine, is that it's about meeting new people, connecting with them, and seeing how you can help them, not how they can help you. So stay tuned, because that's what we're going to talk about next. So in order to shift your mindset from networking being about getting something, I want you to shift it into networking being about giving something. Yes, of course, at times your network is going to help you, but your first thought should always be, who am I meeting? Who's in my circle? What can I do to help them succeed? When we enter networking with the intention of giving, you're going to build a lot more authentic relationships. When we enter networking with the idea of getting, receiving, then we're going to repel people, right? You're going to come across as a salesperson. You're going to come across as someone who wants something. And so the idea here is to make sure that when you are entering a networking event or you're building your network, it's about giving, not receiving. So let me tell you a quick story about a time when I was networking, feeling very awkward and feeling like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to ask these people. This woman comes up to me at this event and just walks up to me, sticks her hand out and says, "Hi, my name is Mary Claire Burek." "Hi, Mary Claire, and I think you look cool, so I wanted to come meet you." Well, that was just completely disarming. I was like, well, I think I am kind of cool. Anyway, long story short, that was almost 20 years ago. And Mary Claire and I have been friends ever since. Mary Claire and I have also helped each other professionally numerous times. I help her, she helps me, vice versa. That is what it is to network and build connections. You want to meet with people, you want to shift your mindset, and you want to really figure out how you can both mutually be beneficial to each other. It's about connecting people. And there's a lot of reasons why we need to have a great network. One is we need more friends. Who doesn't need more friends? Having a good, sturdy network of friends is going to help you socially and professionally. The second reason, and probably the most important reason why we need to have a good network, is that that's where opportunities come from, right? Opportunities don't fall from the sky. They come through people. The old adage, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Well, I would shift that and say, it's not who you know, but who knows you. And when I talk about opportunities coming from other people, I'm talking about it both ways. Like, opportunities are going to come to you from other people, and you are also going to bring opportunities to other people. If you think about all the really great things that have happened in your life, chances are there was somebody along that way that made that happen. There was some connection or some professional or personal connection that aided you into achieving that goal. For example, when I was the host of a radio show, that came because of someone that I knew introduced me to someone that they knew, and they asked me to do a radio show. When I was asked to publish a book, it was the same thing. Somebody recommended me to the publisher, and they contacted me. So if you really get down there and think about it, people will help you, and you've probably helped a ton of people. So that's the real benefit to having a good network, so that you can support others and they can support you. So now that hopefully we're all in agreement about what networking is and the why we should all do it, it's time to dig into some strategies. So I'm going to separate this into two different buckets of strategies. All right, so the first one is, let's talk about internal networking. So internal networking is the networking that you're going to do internally in your organization. And quite frankly, a lot of people kind of take this for granted. And I really want to recommend that you put some intention around building an internal network, really getting to know people within your organization. Now, for those of you that work for small organizations like CareerStone, that's easy. We just call each other on the phone and we get together once a week. But for those in larger organizations, I really want to stress the importance of knowing people inside your organization. It might be because they can help you. Everybody should know someone in IT. It might be because you need their help. You know, everyone should know someone in HR or in payroll. Like, you really want to know people. It can also be helpful because let's say you want to switch jobs in your company. The more people that know you and that whom you know, the more opportunities are open up in your organization. So do not discount the internal networking. All right, here's a couple of my top tips for being great at internal networking. All right, the first one you're going to laugh at, but it's so simple. Just invite people to coffee or for lunch. You know, instead of like eating at your desk every day, make it a habit once a week to go into the communal lunchroom or go out to lunch with somebody, or even just walk with someone to lunch and come back and eat at your desk. So taking the time to get to know your colleagues over coffee or lunch. The second one you're going to groan at, but this one is really important, and that is attend company functions and events. I know, you don't want to do the company picnic. I know, the holiday party, that's so bourgeois. I get it. But these are important places for you to do some meeting and greeting and build your relationships. These are important opportunities for you to expand out of your own department. So when you do go to these company events, do not just talk to the people in your unit, team, or department. I know that's fun. That's where you get to gossip. I know we have a good time there, but this is a great time for you to really go ahead and spread your wings and build some relationships outside of your company. Another things that you can do is volunteer in special projects, or maybe there's a volunteer day. Whatever it is, anything that can get you working alongside or getting to know people in other parts of your company, great way to build your network. Join employee resource groups or your ERGs or any kind of specialized group. This helps you meet people who perhaps have some similarity with you already, but also are going to be in different parts of the organization. These are great ways to expand your network and meet more people. Utilize any existing structure that they have. A lot of organizations have like internal networking, or they have internal events, or they have internal like resources that you can use to actually meet new people. Use those. Another tip is to become a mentor or get mentored. When we spend time mentoring others or being mentored, that expands your network. So let's say, for example, that you've decided that you want to mentor a young person in another department. Well, guess what? Now you've just connected to their network, because that person is now going to talk about you, hopefully in glowing terms, and now your network is expanded via them. And by the way, their network has just expanded via you. So taking time to coach and mentor others is a great way to build your internal network. Solicit advice from others. So sometimes you just maybe want to call up someone in IT and just say, hey dude, like, I don't know how this I don't know anything on my computer, how any of this works, or how do I reframe a photo? Like, getting advice from people is actually a great way to build your network. A lot of us are hesitant to ask for advice because if we ask for advice, we feel like we're going to be seen as weak, or we're going to be seen as stupid, or I don't really know that person. Here's a little psychological tip for you. When you ask someone for their advice, you know what? They like you more. They feel more connected to you. They feel more invested in your future. And here's even another psycho tip for you. It works even better when you don't think that person likes you. It's really weird, but there's research that shows if you ask someone for advice that you don't have a very good relationship with, it actually improves your relationship. So go ask for advice from somebody. And then finally, well, not finally, got two more. One is to participate in employee orientation activities. I know I'm hearing the groans already, but if you can, volunteer to help with the orientation of new employees. This is a great way to meet the new blood. It's a great way to expand your network. It's also a great way to help other people become enculturated into your organization. And my last tip for internal networking, see how easy this is? So many ideas. My last tip is don't forget to be an ally. Find the people who don't get a seat at the table and invite them in. Find the people who are a little bit more marginalized in your organization, invite them in. Learn about them. Really take some time to look around and say, like, who should be part of this conversation, discussion, program, project, and invite them in. So those are my tips for expanding your internal network. They're all easy. They all take maybe a couple hours a month or a couple hours a quarter. It's not hard, people. Go build your internal network, and then we're going to talk about how to build your external network. All right, so we've talked about how to expand your internal networking. We've talked about some strategies to help you really build relationships across your organization. So let's now talk about the external networking. This is the part where I think gives most people the heebie-jeebies. Most of us feel like, oh my God, I don't want to go to this networking event. I don't know what to say. It's all very fakey. Well, I want to sort of alleviate those fears. Yes, sometimes it's fakey. Yes, there are some people that go to these events and all they want to do is sell you a used car. I get that. But there's a whole lot of people that are there for truly authentic reasons. So while we cannot control how other people behave at these external networking events, we can control how we behave. So we can be intentional about being a good person at networking events, somebody who's trying to make an honest, authentic, human-to-human connection. So let me give you a few strategies to get you started. One is you do have to attend stuff. Let's be really clear. These events aren't going to come to you. So you do have to attend professional and industry events. Don't shy away, sign up, go to them. You know, it can be very helpful if you go to these events with what I call a wingman or a wingwoman, someone that you can touch base with throughout the event. But if you do take a wing person with you, make sure that you don't spend all your time with that wing person, but that can be very helpful. So do attend company events. Meet new people. Meet new people by walking up to people, sticking out your hand and saying, hello, my name is Mary Abbajay. It's nice to meet you. Of course, you would say what your name is. Like, don't be afraid just to stick your hand out and say hello to people. Because you have to remember, everybody's in the same boat here. Everybody's feeling a little bit awkward. Everybody is a little bit worried that no one's going to talk to them. So be the person that actually initiates conversation. Make sure you have a really good self-introduction. Sometimes we call this the elevator speech. This is when you meet someone, you say, hello, how are you? It's nice to meet you, whatever. And someone says, oh, well, Mary, tell me about yourself. What can you say about yourself in 30 seconds, no more, that gives this person enough information about who you are, they get a sense of where you're from, and it gives them something that they can latch onto and talk about. So there is a formula for this, which we will do in another video, because that, my good friends, is a whole nother ball of game. Ball of wax, ball of game, game of wax, game of balls, Game of Thrones. But what you want to be able to do is be able to talk about yourself in about 30 seconds that gives that person something to latch on to, some way to take the conversation. So you've made an introduction, right? You're walking the room around, you're walking around. Here's a couple tips for working a room with good etiquette and with good authenticity. One, make sure when you are at an event that you do say hello to the host or the power people, right? make yourself known, walk up, say hello. Thank you so much, Mr. President, for inviting me to the state dinner. It was lovely and I really appreciate the invitation. Then you walk away. Or maybe you might have 2 or 3 sentences. So you want to make sure you are interacting with the host of the Power People, but you are not monopolizing them. This is not the time to tell the president of your company your 10-point plan for improving productivity, right? Keep it short and sweet because the host and the Power People have to work the room. So make sure you say hello, but don't monopolize them. Secondly, if there are VIPs in the room, you want to approach them early. Oftentimes, VIPs are attending multiple events in one night, so they'll come early and they'll leave early. So if you see a VIP there that you really always wanted to talk to, don't keep waiting until like, oh, I'll do it in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, because they may be gone. My other tip for VIPs is that if you're attending a function where there is a speaker, when the person is done speaking, be one of those people that goes up to them, says, hello, I enjoyed your speech. That was so lovely. Maybe you ask them a quick question, and then you leave. Because I don't know of a single person that presents or gives public speeches that doesn't appreciate a kind word or two about their presentation afterwards. So it's a great way to actually make a connection and do so in a very authentic and human way, and kind, actually. Find solos or pairs. So if someone is standing alone, that person would love it if you came up and spoke with them. So that can be really helpful. Always you can go by the buffet or by the bar and stand around and someone will talk to you. That's a great way to meet people as well. If you are seeing a pair of people talking, watch their body language. If the pair is kind of like this, really close, like facing each other, then you probably don't want to break in. But if they're kind of angled out a little bit, that's a good sign that they are open for business, open for communication. Of course, you want to mix it up. So don't just talk to the same people. Mix it up. Different ages, different genders, different career positions, different people. Don't just network with people who look just like you. Another tip I have for you is know the etiquette about when to exchange business cards, okay? You do not exchange business cards at the beginning of a conversation, unless, of course, you are that used car salesman. What you do is you have a conversation with a person. At the end of the conversation is when you offer to exchange business cards. Now, you might exchange business cards in the middle of the conversation if you realize, oh my goodness, we have so much in common, we are going to absolutely need to connect. That's fine. But the people that just hand you their business card right from the start, that's a sign that they don't really care about you. They care about selling something to you. So don't do that. And by the way, the caveat to that is the only time that we exchange business cards in the beginning of a conversation is at industry meetings, when everyone sits down in a meeting and they exchange cards. That's fine. And speaking of cards, by the way, when someone hands you their business card, you have to treat it with respect. It's like it is part of them, so you don't pick your teeth with it, or you don't flip it around, or you don't crumple it in your pocket. You treat it with respect. So you've met people, you're engaging. A couple of tips for how you need to show up is, first of all, you have to be interested and interesting, right? So what I mean by this is be interested in that person. Actually ask them questions, open-ended questions that actually create conversation. And then make sure you really listen to that person. Listening is the highest form of respect. When you're engaging with people, you want to be looking them in the eye and smiling. You don't want to be looking over their shoulder or looking like this or looking down, or God forbid, do not be looking at your phone when you're meeting new people. That sends a subtle sign that you're not valuable. You're not worthy of their attention. You're not worthy of 30 seconds of eye contact for another human being. So you want to make sure that when you are actually engaging with people, you are engaging with them. Asking great questions. These are not yes or no questions. These are questions that actually get to know the person. You can also get a little personal. You could always ask them where they're from, or how do they know the host. Really find out more about them as a person, and remember to listen to their answers. Now also, don't just rely on asking questions. You got to offer something up as well. You know, I used to think of myself as like a talk show host when I went to networking events. Like I would talk with people, I would ask them tons of questions. They loved me because everybody thought I was a great listener, which I am. But you know what? Nobody knew what I did for a living. Nobody knew anything about me. In fact, friends I had for like 10 years, networking friends, professional friends, all thought that I was in the public relations field. Because I asked them questions. Nobody knew that I was a consultant and a trainer. Anyway, so make sure you offer something up as well. I've got tips for my introverts and tips for my extroverts. So I know all you introverts are going, oh my God, but it's so hard, it's so hard. Well, suck it up, buttercup. Yes, it is hard, but you have to do it. So let me give you 2 pieces of advice. So for my introverts, use your natural inclination for listening, right? For listening to actually learn about other people. That will really aid you. Your weakness, the part you need to work on, is what I just said, and that is you've got to learn how to talk a little bit about yourself. You got to share a little bit of information. Now, for my lovely extroverts, your natural strength of connecting with people, of feeling comfortable speaking with strangers, that's really going to be a really good strength. That's going to really help you. But where your danger point lies is taking over too much of the conversation, doing all of the talking, not leaving enough space for the other person to engage as well. So those are my tips for my introverts and my extroverts. All right, so as we kind of close out the video, we're going to do that by giving you some ideas of how to close out these networking conversations. All too often, we're talking with somebody and they might be perfectly fine. They may be fantastic, but you know, enough's enough. It's time to move on. So, you know, what you don't want to do is you don't want to be like, oh, excuse me, I have to use the restroom. Because, well, that's just kind of icky. But what you want to do is you want to close these conversations with a little bit of class and a little bit of grace. There are numerous ways to do this. I'm going to show you just a couple and you can make them your own. And as I show you these, I'm going to assume that you do not necessarily want to get together with this person. And by the way, if you do not want to have lunch, coffee, dinner with this person, do not be a bad day and say, let's get together for drinks. You don't have to say that. So one way to close a conversation is to just close it, rip the Band-Aid off. You want to reach your hand out, shake their hand. You want to say, you know what, Kristen, it was really lovely speaking with you tonight. I wish you the best of luck on that Penske project. I hope our paths cross again. Have a good night. Boom, and you walk away. Or you might say to her, you might say, Kristen, it's been such a delight speaking with you this evening. Your Penske project sounds so exciting. I know there are other people here that want some of your time, so I'll let you go. I hope to see you again sometime. Boom. Or you might say something like this. Hi, Kristen. It was so, well, you wouldn't say hi because you're closing the conversation. You might say, Kristen, it was so lovely to chat with you tonight. I know there's tons of other people that you want to meet with, so I'll let you go, but I hope I see you again sometime. Boom. So those are a couple of ways where you can close the conversation, what makes them feel good about themselves and makes them feel good about you. If that doesn't work, then maybe it's time for plan B. And plan B might be something like, oh, I'm a little thirsty. I'm going to go to the bar. Would you like to come with me? Hopefully they'll say, no, I'm good. But if they say, yes, I'd love to, then you're like, drat. Or maybe you're like, oh, shit balls. But what you do is you walk with them to the bar. Hopefully they will run into someone else they meet at the bar. Or maybe you'll run into someone you know and you can do the pawn off where you introduce the two people and then you say, excuse me for a moment, and you sneak away. So there are all sorts of ways to do it. The key to closing a conversation is to close it with warmth. So that person feels like they were valued for the time that you had together. If you can do that, if you can leave people in the way where they are feeling good about you, feeling good about the interaction, but mostly you want them to feel good about themselves, you have done it well. That's the art of building relationships. All right, so as we close up, a couple of things I want to remind you not to do. One, do not treat your contacts or your connections like transactions. Don't wait until you need something to start reaching out. We can sniff that a mile away, and that makes people very unlikely to help you out. And please, whatever you do, don't talk about yourself the whole time. That is just no fun for anybody. Well, it might be fun for you. If you remember nothing else from this video, please remember this. Networking is about building relationships, about building mutually beneficial relationships with other human beings so that you can help them and they can help you. Start small, be genuine, and always be looking for ways to give. If this video helped you in any way, please hit the button below and subscribe. I promise I'll be giving you more non-fluff tips on how to build your network and maximize your career. And hey, drop a comment below. What's your best networking tip? Or maybe you want to share a story where a networking contact made an extraordinary difference in your life. We would love to hear from you. See you next time.